you're having any problems with it and you still can't figure it out, shoot me an email. I probably have, depending on where it's at, somebody else who's been in that department before. So, and sometimes the departments have a couple different ones depending on the grant, on the mentor. So I'm happy to help with you if you want to shoot me an email and I will help you out with that. Nursing, would nursing fall under any of the 4 content areas? I'll leave that one up to Tuan here.
Yeah. So basically with nursing, because we have pretty open research or creative activity, it can fall any under any of those categories. So with our committee that's set up, I think we have certainly a unit that can look over them across different levels of examination here. So I would encourage even nursing to apply to these grants, and if you need to have that project steered in the right category, just reach out to us. We'll read it over in terms of the draft for you and see how it can be steered into the correct category. Now, if the nursing project definitely has a science component, then yes, it's either going to be biomedical science or simply basic science without a biomedical slant to that.
Right. And if we see them, we do have, if the mentors get one and think it really should be in a different category to make it more competitive, we will switch that and just notify you that we're moving it around, when the reviewers go over all this stuff. So when they get something, if something gets submitted to biomedical and it really should have been in STEM and there'll be more competitive in STEM, we will administratively handle that on our end. So we're here for that, but like I said, we'll also entertain, send us that draft and read it over and we can give it a quick, it should be here. Any other questions? So I know a lot of times just to, we often get questions about deadlines and spending deadlines. And I just want to make a note that well, most of the deadlines as far as, oh, we want you to spend it by December 31st, or we want you to spend it by May 15th, I think it is. These can be adjusted, and that's just send me an email. They're approved, except for if the student has graduated, we cannot be giving them a deadline after their graduation date. All funds must be spent by then. And June 30th, again, state funds, this is out of our hands. We often get, oh, can you give us the money back? It got pulled back on July 1st. We don't get it back. The state takes it away from us and we never see those funds again. So we really, make every effort if you can and to get that spent as soon as possible. I'm hoping we never go through what we went through in 2020. Because of the pandemic, things got dicey quickly where we couldn't spend money, we couldn't get things in. So, we really encourage you to try to spend those funds and take care of those assistantships as soon as possible. Yeah. Yes, you can reapply with the same research. Please do make sure if you have received one before, you do have that reporting requirement. Your report might not be due yet, depending on your graduation date. And when you receive the funding, but if you are due for a report, make sure that report has been turned in. If you have been already funded, we will look to see if that reporting requirement was fulfilled. And we do have students a lot of times building on the same projects, and yeah, and it's great.
Apparently research never stops, does it? So we all know that sort of continuity with timelines, and so yes. Heather will hunt you down if you don't have a final report, right, Heather?
Yes. So I'll be honest, in the past years, it's been hard to keep track of those. We didn't have a great thing in place, a great system. So I have taken the time this summer and updated that. And if you get an award, you will see on your letter that it'll have a link where you can submit that report at. You can also find the link on our website, and it will have a link specific for projects awarded this year you go to that link, and it's helping us then to try to keep better track of these. So it has been always on our radar, but we have a good system now in place, I believe. So if you have any questions about the reporting, though, feel free to shoot me an email and we will definitely help you out.
Heather, in the interim here, can you bring up the timeline for award notification, then when the awards will be distributed?
Sure, let me pull that up real quick. So it's, every year it's a little bit different, and it depends, in the fall, we have a lot more applications than we do in spring. So it does take these reviewers some time to sort through this. It is a 3-step kind of review process, as in there's the initial where the instructions followed as far as character count, things like that. And then the next real one is then it comes through me, where I review, and I'm not reviewing the science of it or that aspect. That is a little out of my wheelhouse. But we do, trying to find that document, sorry. We do try to get those reviewed as quickly as possible, and I do it just from a budget purpose, as in, can you spend that money on the way you're asking to? And once we do that, that's then after the deadline closes. Here's that timeline. That's when the reviewers in your actual category go through and review them. So this fall, as you all know, the due date is Friday, September 30th at 5 o'clock. We hope to have the application to the reviewers by October 4th, and the reviewers will meet all together on October 14th, hopefully. And I hope to have the award letters out by the 18th of October. It's I know it's hard when you're waiting and you want to know, but it does take a while to do these reviews. So we are trying to, do the best we can and get them out as quickly as we can to help you get that funds out. And then as far as the funds getting distributed, it depends on how long it takes us to get your FOAP set up, which your FOAP is basically think of it as like your checking account. We have one specifically for you so that we can track and where the funds are being spent. So mid-October, right around mid-October, around October 18th, hopefully you will be receiving a letter it will come from my email, whether or not you have been awarded. See, I know we missed some questions.
Okay. So I think we have a data here next. Do we need to let you know in the application if we're planning on using the RESA funds during the next semester as well?
So if you're using it next semester, so if you're going to use the funds that you get this fall and you're going to be using it in the spring semester is what I'm understanding. And if I'm not understanding that correctly, please let me know. What I would do is you have an option for which deadline you want to apply for. You could apply for the spring deadline then. That way, you'll have the funds still in fall, but your deadline to spend it. And the deadlines, again, they can always be extended except for past graduation or past June 30th. The deadlines, the earlier ones are trying to get everybody to spend their money so that, especially if you're graduating, it's a huge thing. If you're graduating in December and you don't get that assistantship done, if you don't get those funds spent, there's nothing we can do to correct that. Unfortunately, our hands are tied. So I hope that answers your question. So
I'm just going to add here, Heather, with Dee Dee's question, just to clarify, it's one grant funded per semester cycle, but the funds can be used up to the expiration date of that semester as indicated on the application. However, if it's a special circumstance where you need extension to use those funds by June 30th of this next fiscal year, then you contact Heather.
Yes. So give me, shoot me an email and we'll figure out what we can do. Typically, like I said, as long as it's not past June 30th or your graduation, it's usually not a problem. Yep. Let's see, Nick. If students are working on projects that are likely to last 1+ years, should they apply for one semester at a time? I would apply one semester at a time. If you can go in and you apply and you get awarded, say, $1,500 this semester, and you spend that money and you're still working on that project and you're in good standing, apply again for more funds in spring. You can apply, as these projects can keep building on each other. So then you could, if they're still here, they can apply again next fall. So there's not, right now we are accepting applications whether they've been there or not, and they can apply multiple times a year. We have the 2 award cycles. So it'll begin in January again.
Heather, does that also mean that if it's the same student funded over 2 semesters, will they need 2 reports?
No, no, and we can tell that. No, if it's the same project and they're funded over 2 semesters in the same fiscal year, 1 report will suffice. And that's kind of why there was the confusion. So now we're doing the reporting by fiscal year. And for school year, if you want to think of it that way, instead of fiscal year. So we can tell if you were awarded in January and fall, you would only have to submit 1 report. To pay the undergraduate researcher, yes. So the funding can be used to pay the undergraduate researcher. We have at ECU what are called undergraduate assistantships, and that would be the mechanism that they use to pay students for research. This is not an hourly position per se, that you're not clocking in. It's a contract between your mentor and you saying, you're going to be working approximately this many hours a week for this much money, and you'll get paid for that. We do have a maximum for these awards. You are allowed to apply for up to $1,000 per semester for that. So this application, you could apply for $1,000 for assistantship. The reporting deadline is here. For last year, I think it was September or something. I can find out that information for sure. For next year, '23 academic year. So it'll be depend on your graduation date. If you are graduating this fall, you should be reporting by December 31st. If you are reporting in spring, if you're graduating in spring, it's a May 30th, end of May deadline. And then if you're not graduating this year, you do have until next fall to report. So you'll get all those specific deadlines in your letter. And this year, for the first year ever, we're actually going to be sending out reminders, hey, we see that you're supposed to be graduating. Don't forget to fill out this report, to try to help you along with that as well. If the student is still ongoing, the research is still going, we still want to report on what's going on so far. Let us know how it's going. And it's a form you fill out on Smartsheet, much like the application. It says, did you have any publications? Did you present at, say, RCAW? Because there is a presentation requirement with these awards. So you are required to present at one of some type of undergraduate research opportunity, whether it be RCAW. They have the Fall Snickers program coming up, which we will be getting information on that as well this fall. This year, it's December 3rd in Wilmington. We have some other opportunities on campus as far as sometimes we do a summer symposium. There can be symposiums other places. You could present at a national conference. We do have the National Conference of Undergraduate Research is in spring where you could present. I'm not sure where it's at this year. So you'll be getting opportunities, but yeah, you still want to report, tell us what's going on, how it's going. And just it's an update. Just let us know what's going on, even if the research is still ongoing.
These can include venues outside of ECU, such as local conferences, regional, state, national conferences, whatever is specific to your discipline. And also, by the way, just let you know, we also have, just in addition to what Heather said, certain types of symposia that's available on campus outside of URCA, such as the annual Neuroscience Symposium that's coming up in October. So if it's within your discipline, you know there's a conference or symposium that's available, then that can qualify as well as part of your final report and being eligible for the next round of funding.
Making a note for myself real quick. Yeah, so the undergraduate assistantship, that is something, if you as a student are awarded an undergraduate assistantship, you will be contacted by student employment. You will have to fill out the appropriate paperwork to get that to get those funds paid to you. So there's a contract, then your mentor, your department, they fill out that contract and you sign and say that's all true and this is what's happening. And then it gets sent to student employment, and student employment is going to then contact you to fill out your I-9 paperwork. Student employment is they just had an informational session on Friday for admins on this because they've had problems with gathering the I-9. So please make sure that, when you see something from student employment, especially if you've been awarded an URCA and an assistantship, they want to, in order to get paid, you're going to need to respond to them. And they're there to help you out. So, I mean, if you ever have any questions and you can't get through to them, I'm happy to try to triage those and play middleman. But they're going to reach out to you directly, and you need to make sure to respond to those emails so that you can get paid. Furthermore, if you are awarded an assistantship and you're like, wait a minute, I haven't received any money yet. What's going on? I haven't received a contract, nothing. Please contact your mentor and or your admin, the department admin person you're putting on there. So that gets taken care of, because we did have, yes, to your school email. We did have, unfortunately, some times where the ball was dropped at somewhere, no blame putting on anybody, but the ball was dropped. And then the student graduated and said, well, I never got paid that. And there was literally nothing I could do. So, you want to take responsibility. This is your project as a student. And we know it's a learning experience. So we still want you, to work with us, work with your mentor, work with your admin if you have any questions. But, definitely want to take control of this project and say, hey, wait a minute, I was awarded these funds. So make sure to keep an eye on that. URCA funds are used to pay for, right. So it's called an undergraduate research assistantship. So that's how they are paid to the student. There's a link on our website that has the assistantship policy, a contract. If you go to the frequently asked question documents, under the admins for sure, maybe mentors, it will have a contract example of what the contracts look like. So if you have any questions about that actual specific policy or how to fill out the contracts, please look there first, but also reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. That's why most of our questions usually come about assistantships.
Yes. Now, you cannot use that money to then pay others. Okay, so it's a stipend for the student as a researcher or that create a project, but in turn, the money cannot be used to pay others for employment on the project outside of the person receiving that award, right? Now, as far as incentives for a research project, such as a $25 gift card to participants, well, that's going to have to be rolled into how your admin and your unit handles those types of funds.
So, right, these funds can be used for those types of gift cards, things like this, but your department knows or the admin knows, or they can find out the rules. They change every once in a while. We have a system called Greenfire, which is used to pay for these cards, but there is a way around, and not a way around it. They have an exception policy. So it used to be if it was, more than $20, you had to go through this long process of this Greenfire. And now I believe it's up to 50. So you don't, and to be honest, most of the incentives that we've seen through URCAs are usually around $25 per participant. So we're happy to help with that and help your department admin along if they're having questions, or if you are the department admin, happy to help. But they're the Greenfire website, and those websites are listed on those frequently asked question documents. So it's all right there. So we have all your resources there. But again, always happy to help. This reimbursement question, are we talking about being reimbursed for something that you've already paid for before the reimbursement is very difficult, and I mean, in the FAQ documents, like gift cards already bought, that's very difficult to do, and we really don't encourage that. The departments do have the ability to say no, that they're not processing those refunds. But the reimbursement, it's a very tricky situation trying to reimburse people for purchases with state funds. It gets a little messy. If your department really is adamant about doing it, we won't stop it as long as it's getting used for what it was budgeted for. But we've also told those department admins that they don't have to do that. It's a very burdensome process. If that helps the question. I know it's unfortunate because you don't know when or if you're getting the awards, but it makes it very difficult to do that.
Maybe I can handle Madeline's question here. If a student is a URA for another faculty, but they are also working with me on another project. So Madeline, I'm assuming that you've got an undergraduate working on a specific project for you, but there is a TA for somebody else. As long as you are the mentor on this project, for which the student can be guided to you, then they can apply to work for that project underneath your mentorship, even if they are an assistant for somebody else. Now, Heather, you might have something to add to this, right? In terms
So
of
there are rules about how much a student can work. This is obviously in place to help the students so that they're, focusing on their studies as well as jobs. So it would really depend on the situation as far as how many hours they're working as a assistantship for somebody else. How the contract was set up with them, how many hours per week. So it is definitely possible. And if you want to shoot me an email, tell me what their hours are on their current assistantship contract, I can try to assist in that and get that. And it's possible that we could stop the one assistantship, redo the contract a different way so that we could make it work. But there are rules in place, and it's, for the students' own good that they that they're not just doing this other stuff, that they are also, I mean, I know research is a huge part, obviously, working for this office, huge part of their experience, and we 100% believe that undergraduate research and creative activities really help the students. But yeah, so there's ways around it, so it's going to depend on the specific situation. I'm happy to help with that. You know what? I just realized I forgot to record this session.
someone is recording.
Is
And
somebody recording?
yeah,
Oh,
I'm seeing that.
good.
So basically what happens, Andrew, is that with Teams, it's going to be automatically sent to you because of your participation in this virtual chat. It's going to be pretty much automatically sent to everybody in this chat.
Yes. And it should then, we should be able to download it. And the plan was, I'm so glad somebody recorded it. Whoever you are, thank you.
Yeah, I was just recording because some of my research participants couldn't be here today, so I just wanted to make sure we got all the information. So
thank you so much.
End of the meeting.
It was absolutely my intention to record because we would like to have it placed on the website, essentially.
Yeah,
so thank you.
Yeah, I think I missed maybe 10 minutes because I was in class, so the first 10 minutes I might have missed, but I do have the rest of this.
Awesome.
I'll just add this here, Heather,
Yeah.
with okay, you've got so many hours that your student can put into a work week. And those are federally mandated. You can't have students work so many hours beyond so many hours. But what you can do in the budget is this. Based on their project, what does it look in terms of feasibility for them to work X number of hours per week? And then you can say, okay, they're getting paid this much per week based on this number of hours for your project. And the totality of which is going to be added on, of course, including what else they're doing in terms of work to make it look as if they can do all this stuff, including their normal work duties in a weekly, in a feasible way within that work week. So you'll
Right.
have to
So the
detail that.
The contracts can be written, that there's not necessarily a set hourly rate that these assistantships have to be paid at. So, it could be paid that, that they're only working 5 hours a week, but according to the contract, but still, maybe they're making $25 an hour, So the contracts, like I said, we can, if we know ahead of time and we have enough time, as in you're not trying to shove all these things in when the very last minute deadline to spend, which happens sometimes, whether it's the student graduating, they're like, oh no, I didn't get this assistantship. That's what I'm saying. Make sure you're getting this award. Make sure you're getting whatever was awarded to you and it's getting spent appropriately according to your budget. But there are ways around things. So please do not hesitate to reach out to us. If we have enough time, we usually can find some way to make the best situation for everyone while staying within the rules. Like I said, you'll get a budget. So your individual letter will tell you, hey, you're getting an assistantship for $1,000 and $500 for supplies, or, $50 for studio props, and depending on, if it's a creative activity. And it outlines what you can spend the money on. So if you, for some reason, need to change that budget, please reach out to me. And as long as it is something that is allowable and makes sense for the project, we work with everybody to get that change. We know how things develop and are always changing on what needs to be done and what becomes more of a priority with budgeting. We've all been there. Anybody
Any other
else?
questions? Yeah.
I do want to say again, we're really excited about Snickers this year. This is the State of North Carolina's Conference of Undergraduate Research. It's the first year back in person. Again, it's going to be in Wilmington, and we'll be spreading the information far and wide, just like the URCAs, about that program. We are not in charge of it this year, so we're waiting on them to send us information, but we would really love to see our students there, really representing ECU and showing the world what you're doing. Show the state of North Carolina all this hard work you've been putting in on these projects. We know it's not an easy task, and you should go and definitely present your research and let everybody know what's going on here at ECU and how wonderful we all are.
Indeed, indeed.
If you ever have any suggestions or questions about different things, every year we try to update these awards to try to, like I said, make it easier on you, the mentors, the admins, the students. And we also, if you are not awarded, and assuming that you're not graduating, you'll get feedback from the reviewers. And if you have additional questions about the project and how to improve it, we can put you in touch with the reviewers and they can talk with you about this for the next round. So, if for some reason you're not awarded, we can't award everybody. I wish we could. There's some great projects out there, but we only have so much money. So we definitely, we want to see you succeed. So we want to see your project improve. If it's not, awarded this time, they're going to give you some great feedback. Please don't, take it personally. It's part of the process. We really believe that these URCAs can be a learning experience in general. I don't know, the mentors, I'm sure you all know this, faculty and things like this, but, students, this might be the first time that you're applying for things like this. And this is, as a researcher, something that's happens, you're applying for these and you have to read the rules and follow the rules, and you sometimes won't get awarded right away, but they'll ask you to resubmit, after taking their, suggestions in mind. and taking those and improving your project. So if nothing else, if unfortunately you're not awarded, please use this as a learning process. And like I said, we're there to help you, and you are welcome to reapply, make some changes on that project.
It's about number of characters.
Has a character count limit.
Yeah.
So it is an absolute character count limit. There is, that is one of the big things. Acceptance rates was we did about 50% spring. I think overall we were at about 65%.
For the year last year.
Yeah. So it just depends, of course, on how many applications we get. And, we have about the same amount of funding this year as last time. And the character count, so there is a character count on the actual project description. There's also a character count on the budget information. If you are applying for only assistantship, so you're applying for $1,000 and you just are asking to be paid for the research, no anything else, you don't have to enter a budget information. You can just hit NA because it's just the assistantship. But if you are asking for supplies, things like that, then you will want to explain why those are necessary for your project. And for the budget, is a 1,500 characters with spaces, approximately 150 words. And then the project description is 3,000, I think.
Yes, 3,000.
3,000. Okay, I was like, we changed it recently, so I didn't want to tell you something else. So the character count, if you exceed the character count, and I have had one already this year that applied and they exceeded the character count, they got an automatic notification from Smartsheet, the application that we're using to process these, and says, hey, you exceeded your character count. If you think for some reason this is, there's a mistake, please notify Heather Chrisman, me. And Smartsheet, for some reason, sometimes adds extra line breaks in, which is causing a problem. And so this one, because it was coming in slowly, I was able to say, okay, I put it into Word and I was like, you can disregard that. And it got forwarded on to the mentor and it will be reviewed. So if you get it and you really think that that's not true, don't panic, shoot me an email. And as long as it's really not over the character count, you'll be good. If it is, you have the chance to fix it and reapply this year. So if you get it this year and you're like, oh no, now I'm done, you're not done. Fix it. Fix it and submit it again.
Students, I would suggest that you do follow up with your mentor and just keep on at it with them to make sure they do read the email and then the proposal.
Yes. So Smartsheet, one of the reasons we use it for these is you all submit that application, assuming that everything's good with the character count, it goes automatically to the mentor. If it's somebody who has mentored many projects with the URCA program before, they're probably used to seeing the Smartsheet. Other people sometimes think it's junk mail, or it actually goes to junk mail. So I do keep track, and if you haven't, you'll get notified when they have accepted it as far as your mentor. And if you don't see that, within a few days, follow up with your mentor. I will also be following up with them. If you were to apply, September 30th at 4:30 p.m., please don't think your mentor has to approve by 5 p.m. that day. It's okay. The application needs to be in by the deadline, 5 p.m. on that Friday. But the mentor, we can start the review process without that in place. You would just, in order to be awarded, we'd have to get that approval from the mentor. Anybody else? Is there anything we can think of undergraduate research in general? I think they're starting to plan, should consider the Capture 180 program.
Yeah, this is another venue where it can certainly qualify as a presentation. We do have Capture 180. That's in the works in terms of the next availability of this particular type of activity, but it's a way to present your work in a 3-minute timeline. And it's competitive. It's also, I think there's an award that is attached to this, but nonetheless, see this as an opportunity to meet that requirement for your final report. This is another way of being able to articulate, communicate your science in a different venue. If it's nothing that you see down the road where you present at the URCA, perhaps Capture 180 can be another way to do that. We'll have that information on our website pretty soon here in terms of the next availability of this particular type of activity.
Yeah, we're excited to have that back. You know, it got put on pause again with the pandemic because it's best done in person. So we're just starting the process of getting that plan, but that should be more information will be coming on that soon too. So we're excited to have everybody back in person and try to get those. It's a good time. It's fun, and it is. I don't remember, and it's probably going to change because everything changes all the time. What the awards are, but there are awards in connection with that program. Trying to think if there was anything else with undergraduate research we have coming up soon. The URCAs take up a lot of our energy during this time of the year.
Definitely URCA season. That's correct.
And it's always the fall that takes a little bit longer. That's when we're usually updating and changing some things and whatnot. You know, or putting in place changes permanently that we tried out the year before. So we really did try to help everybody out this year. I don't know if there are any admins on the call today. We will be having an admin session also once the award letters go out that they can join in, and mentors, you're more than welcome to join that as well, to kind of ask any questions about the budgets and how to process all their awards. Happy to do that. Like I said, the website, we've really worked really hard on trying to answer your questions because we get the same ones often, which I mean, that's anything. So we tried to really
how do you
put
get your
together
money and when do you get your money? Is that
right? How
Yes.
and when do I get my money? That is exactly most of the time the questions. So I think we did a good job. We collaborated with some other admins to try to answer their questions and concerns when we did those frequently asked question documents. And like I said, we holding this informational session and that admin one later was really how we wanted to do this, to try to help you beforehand, so you're not you can ask those questions before you turn in your application instead of wishing you would have known something different before you did it. So we're really glad. I mean, I feel like this is a really good turnout.
Yeah.
I'm happy to see students and mentors here. It makes it feel all worthwhile to see you all here, and we want your projects to succeed. So we are here for you.
Okay. Yeah, please feel free to see the video recording again if you missed anything. And I think if there's nothing else, we can probably get back to our work or lunch, and glad you're able to come.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you for
everybody.
everyone to be here.
Thanks, Heather. Thank you. Have a great day.